Leroy Cruiser, your life applications officer. I'm sitting here watching this Trump video. And he's talking about, what's he talking about here? Trump holds roundtable on race relations with prominent black leaders. And I just love the comments in this video. And he's talking to, these brothers about bettering our communities and bettering our financial wealth by next year, and a bunch of other things, okay? But he said one thing. He said one word that I'm tired of hearing in America. I'm tired of hearing this two-word phrase. Tired of hearing it. He just said it, but he was real slow at saying it because he knows. That's another thing I like about Trump. I can understand him. Like, he was real slow at saying it because he don't want to offend anybody. But he got to say it because that's what you want him to say. Whether you are against him or with him, that's what you want him to say. Even a lot of black Republicans can't get their head around the fact, or they don't understand the fact that there is no black community. Let me tell you what the black community is. See, when people, even my best friends, they say the term black community, I'm going to correct them. First thing that's going to come out of my mouth is, where is this crazy place? Where is it? I'm tired of hearing that. Well, the black community. And then I asked this lady one day, she wasn't my friend. She was definitely, very segregated. I'll put it like that, a very segregated woman. And I asked her, I says, what is the black community? Tell me what that is. She was trying to talk about other black people that ain't like me. Okay, I appreciate that. I'm glad you separated me from them. Okay? But she called them the black community, and I had to stop her. Hold up. Where's the black community? She just looked at me like, duh, black people. I says, no. Where's the white community? Is there a white community? What about the Asian community? What about the Spanish community? What about the Indian Arab community? Where there is no town or cities in this state anyway that's named after black people. Now you go to Florida, Texas, California, and Arizona, there are cities named after, that are named, from the Spanish language, from their, names derived from their culture or whatever. And then there's Chinatown, there's, but those are not communities. Those are historical areas where we get to learn about these people and some of the good things about these people. But let me tell you what the black community is. When you say black community, that's a word that means tolerance. They are tolerating a group of people who think the same, act the same, and all have the same hang-ups and setbacks. They're tolerating a culture of people that are crybabies and whiners and race baiters and racists. Okay? That's what they're doing. It's a name to mean tolerating, this stuff that's going on here, these riots and all this stuff. People with that kind of attitude to do that thing. And so white people, it's easy for white people to be driving down the road, you know what I'm saying? And they're talking in the car and they're thinking, what can I say? What can I say to talk about what I don't want to go through today. Oh, yeah, be careful. Yeah, when we get to town, be careful. You don't want to offend the black community. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of black community down here. We're going into the black community. They don't mean they're going into a place where there's a lot of black people. What they really mean is they're going to a place where they believe that black people are violent. They get angry real quick. They're constantly, race baiting and hating because they're racist. And let me tell you something. Now, I'm doing another video later about this, but let me tell you this too. I'm doing this real quick because I'm getting ready to get out of here, but let me tell you something. Anytime you have people who are constantly bringing up black and white. See, my pastor let me know a long time ago. My pastor let me know a long time ago. Yes, he's a white pastor. He said something to me one time, a long time ago. Because there was a situation that went down at my church, because we are a mixed church. And there was a guy there that wasn't one of us. And when I say wasn't one of us, he wasn't part of our church family. He didn't know any of us in detail like we all know each other. We got people in there that are Native Americans. We got whites. We got blacks. We got a couple Spanish people. We got couple African people to come and go. You know what I'm saying? We're a mixed church. We're a small church, but we're mixed. So it's easy for us to be a family because we're small. But he said something to me one day when me and another black gentleman, pastor friend of mine, we started arguing and bickering about just one guy, what he said. And so my pastor friend said something about him having a problem with black people, and I jumped on that bandwagon with him, and I started to talk about that too. And my pastor said one thing that will stick with me for the rest of my life. I remember that he said this at his funeral, if he dies before me. He said, well, if none of us are racist here, why bring it up? If you don't bring it up, there is no racism. If you don't bring it up, why bring it up? If you don't bring it up, there is no racism. He says it's more right here. What's coming out of your mouth than what this guy is doing or what he said. It's coming out of your mouth. Why bring it up? If we're not trying to be racist here, we're not trying to have a race war, why bring it up? Why bring it up? And he is so right about that. I'll never forget that. And every time I said, well, he said, if you're not a racist, and he's not a racist, and I'm not a racist, am I racist? Are you a racist? Because the guy that we was talking about wasn't even in the room. We talking about him, okay? Why bring it up? Why bring it up? He's gone. Let him go. He didn't feel like he belonged here. He's gone. I can guarantee you he ain't coming back. And he didn't come back. He said his piece. He had some nasty things to say. He put a little race innuendo in there. And me and my pastor friend, my pastor friend got ticked off first. Me, I don't really pay attention to stuff. But then my pastor friend started with it, and then I got ticked off with him. That's how we do. That's how black people get themselves in trouble. One black guy gets pissed off, and then you get pissed off right with him, and then you say, well, wait, I didn't mean to go that far into detail with it. Just like they're doing with this George Floyd crap. You know what I mean? But anytime you constantly bring something up and you keep calling it black and white, which one of us is racist? See, I'm starting to believe that white people are the victims here in America. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I believe white people are the true victims. Because white people are hated whether they're Republican or Democrat. White people are hated, okay, simply because they do stuff right, the way it's supposed to be done. White people are hated because they got money, because they got white skin, because they got stringy hair, because they send their children to, a lot of them send their kids to private schools. They ain't got to worry about your rioting, looting behind. Okay, they send their kids to private schools. They, you know what I'm saying? They do things, and then, you know, all the black women want to get weaves so they can look like these white women. That's right, I said it, because I don't like weaves. Okay, I think it disrespects a black woman to wear a weave. When everybody in this room knows that thing on your head is a goddamn wig, and this white woman, she gonna come walking by looking like you. You know what I mean? It's in her scalp. It doesn't come off at night, and she got as much hair on her head as I do. Or she got it all matted down and balled up. This is the laziest thing ever. If I could show you some pictures of the 80s and going back, black women spent, you know, they got up like white women. They got up in the morning and spent an hour on their hair. Or they spent an hour at night before going to bed on their hair, and then when they got up in the morning, all they had to do was comb it back or take the braids out or whatever. Curl iron it or whatever. And off to work they went. I mean, this is why you hate white women, because they are the foundation. This is why you hate white people, because they are the foundation of everything you want that you cannot have, not because you really can't have it, but because you don't want to do the work that they do to get it. I gotta admit, I don't want to do a lot of the work. I got friends, man. I said, how you rise like this, man? You know, white friends. So how you rise like this, man? They told me what they had to do. I said, okay, never mind. Never mind. Okay? I'm not going to save all them pennies, number one. I'm not going to save my pennies like that. Number two, I'm not going to go over here and learn how to do this. Okay? Take a fat chance. You know, white people, they're not afraid of risk. Take this fat chance of doing this and ending up nowhere, but if it works, I'm loaded. But if it don't work, I'm back to phrase one. White people told me. I did it. I ended up back on phrase one 3 times. Kept getting up and doing it again. Okay? Because why? You got nothing else to do in this world. This is the United States. You got nothing else to do but try to succeed and be as financially wealthy as possible for the sake, not for yourself, but for your children. So that your children don't have to go to public school and get beat up by black people. And that not only goes for white people, that goes for black people. Okay? I wish my mama and my daddy, well, my mom died when I was 16, but I wish my daddy was living when I was in high school, when I was in middle school. Because he'd have came in there and set it off. He'd have been grabbing some people by their neck and slamming them into who knows what. Because I was getting bullied like you wouldn't believe. And it wasn't. I must have had one white guy my whole life bully me. One white guy my whole life bullied me. And the gangbangers got a hold of him. Now, a lot of people will look at that and say, oh, I should thank God for gangbangers. I should see they had my back because they was black and I'm black. No, I didn't ask y'all to fight my battles for me that way. It would have been good if you had helped me, but I didn't need you to beat the guy up like that, hurt him like that, because he didn't beat me up like that, okay? That boy ended up quitting school. That poor boy. But then these kids, where are they at today? They quit school too. They quit school too. And guess what? This boy, he came back to school, graduated, okay, middle school, high school, college, and graduated from college and did something with his life. These kids, where'd they go? They stayed in the gangs and kept dropping out of school, staying in the gangs until what? They're probably in prison. I'm pretty sure they're in prison today. Or dead, worse yet. But anyway, I'm not in the black community. The black community, when you say that word, even Donald Trump is wrong for saying the term black community. But even black Republicans and black ministers and pastors and leaders, okay, that are, on the side of the right, okay, on the Jesus side, they like when you refer to them as the black community. Now, to a black person, a black community tells black people that we're special. Because nobody else says, well, I'm with the Asian community. I'm with the white community. I'm with the Spanish community. Nobody's doing that. But we are just the black community. You know why they call us the black community? Because nobody acts like us. Nobody needs pacifiers and milk and Pampers like we do to survive. When we grown-ass men and women. They just don't. That's why they call us the black community. They don't have to baby and pamper and give respirations. I'll be right to it. To these Spanish people. These Spanish people come over here. They come here to work. No games. Sure, they get together with you. Now, I'm not saying not all, but, I say there's a good 30% of them that might get together with black folks. Matter of fact, in that one video where that guy from Black Lives Matter made that white woman get down on her knees, I'd have kicked him. I'd have told her, he lucky I wasn't there. I'd have grabbed her by the arm and said, woman, get up. Get up. Are you stupid? Get up. Oh, my CEO told me to tell you. Okay, he ain't even black. My CEO told me to tell you that you have white privilege. Are you ready to apologize for your white privilege? Y'all, oh God, if I was white, I think I'd be dead by now. Because I'd have said, absolutely not. You want some privilege? Come get it. You can get, everybody can get privilege just like I got privilege, sir. It's called hard work. It's called doing the right thing. Okay? It's called, having a thick skin. You gotta get your black privilege or your Spanish privilege or whatever, like I gotta get my white privilege. Okay? Because privilege does not come by the color of your skin. It comes from what you have to invest. What you have to invest and what kind of toys you got to work with. That's what privilege comes from. Just as a white person who told his own son to move out and live on his own and go do what he needs to do to get himself together. Why? Because when he was living at home with his white parents, he didn't want to invest in nothing. He didn't want to help them pay the bills. He didn't want to do nothing but live off of white privilege. Well, if white privilege is a thing, how come all these white men are making their kids, go out to work at a young age while these black kids are being lazy? If it's about white privilege. If it's about white privilege, why do white people tell their kids when they're only 14, 15 years old to go get a job? It was a white lady who showed me how to work for the hospital as a volunteer to get my mind set and to get, it was my mother's social worker when she died, which is a white lady. And she had my back. She cared about me dearly because she was good friends with my mother for years. She told me to go to the hospital and don't worry about the money. Worry about the prestige. Worry about what that makes me look like. Worry about how that makes me have friends and create relationships and learn things so that when I go out there and make money, I have something to fall back on. I have something under my belt. And it worked. Another great advice that I got from a white person. Okay? But I was the only one. And here in Pittsburgh, anyway, I'm not saying elsewhere, but here in Pittsburgh, I was the only one at that hospital that was a volunteer. Everybody else was either white or Asian. I'm not being racist. I'm just telling the truth. And there was people in there, okay, that looked at me like, what you doing here, boy? Why'd they look at me like it? Not because they don't want me there, but because they know my kind don't usually waltz up in there. That's why they was looking at me like, okay. Never a dull moment. Now we got a blackie up in here. Okay, buddy. I'm going to show you this one time. You're going to get it right. And, and they loved me. And I didn't get it right one time. Certain things, depending on what I had to do, especially counting money, I still ain't got that right. That's why I don't do it. That's just not my career goal. Because I hate it. But, because I can't do it. So I hate it. Because I can't do it. Maybe if I could do it, I'd like it, but can't do it. So I hate it. Okay? But anyway, I'm closing. They showed me what to do. And they gave me one of the most important jobs as a volunteer. People walked up in that, other black folks walked into that hospital. They said, you a doctor already and you just now graduated from high school. You didn't have to go to college? I said, boy, I'm a volunteer. You see these candy stripes on my collar? See, back in the day, they called them, they were candy stripes. They called us candy stripers. Now you just volunteer services. But they called you candy stripe services back in the day, which meant you were a volunteer, but they called you candy stripes because all the volunteers, whether they wore red or white, they had candy stripes on their collar. They had a white collar with candy stripes on it, okay? You're part of the candy stripe company, but candy stripe company worked at all the hospitals. They had a candy stripe office in all the hospitals, which today is volunteer. Some hospitals have them. Some hospitals feel they don't need them. They don't want them in their budget or whatever, but I'm closing. The fact of the matter is, where is this crazy place called the black community? Where is it? Are you part of the black community? I'm not. What would happen? Remember two things. What would happen if I'm not part of the black community? How do I live my life if I'm not part of the black community? How do white people live their lives? How do Asian people live their lives? How do Spanish people live their lives? How do Indian people live their lives? They never call themselves of any particular special community. Okay? And remember this, if you don't bring it up, see, if you don't bring it up, how do we call it racist? Just like the news I heard today. I was just watching this before I started watching Trump news. George Floyd, more information on George Floyd. Now, what was going on between George Floyd and Chauvin came out in the open. Again, though. The woman that they asked, they says, do you think that Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd because he had racist feelings towards George George Floyd. He says, no, he was intimidated by George Floyd based on the way, and everybody knew that George Floyd was very aggressive with everybody. So even if Chauvin killed George Floyd, okay, it didn't necessarily have to be a racist reason. But, you know, when you say that, oh, you don't have to ask questions, let me tell you, that's racism. When you say you don't have to ask questions of whether or not someone was racist when they killed somebody, you don't have to prove racism, that's racist. You're being racist. Derek Chauvin deserves someone to ask him, why did you kill, and it hasn't been asked yet, why did you kill Floyd or George Floyd? Why did you kill him? He deserves somebody to ask him that question. Even if you think you already know, he deserves the right for you to ask him. Because any two people, I don't care what race of skin color they are, I don't care what mixture is up in each other's face, they can kill each other for 100,000 reasons. Everything is not racism, black people. It's not always racism. If a man gets caught sleeping with your woman, and you decide to choke him until he's dead, because you caught him in your house sleeping with your wife, which I don't advise you to do that because I'm a Christian, okay? But I'm just saying, it happens every day, okay? Would it matter if he's white or black? He got caught sleeping with your wife. Would it matter if he's white or black? He got caught up in your house. The only thing you're going to say out of the ordinary is this white man come in my house, sleep with my wife. What? Okay? But when you get your hands around his neck, it's not going to matter whether he was white or black, is it? It's not. It's not. And so, this is why y'all need to stop. Y'all need to get out of this community. Okay? And y'all need to quit bringing it up. Get out of the community and quit bringing it up. I am DeRoy Cruz. I am your life applications officer, and I approve this message again in Jesus' name. Talk to you later.